Okay, here we go. So, to solve this question, question 1, where x plus 5 squared equals 10, we're going to start by taking the square root of both sides. But when we do that, we have to remember that the square root of 10 could be plus or minus some number, just like the square root of 9 could be plus or minus 3, because 3 squared equals 9, and negative 3 squared equals 9. So we can't forget that plus or minus. So taking the square root of the left side gets rid of the square, so now I have x plus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 10. To solve for x, we subtract 5 from both sides, and I get x equals the square root of 10 minus 5, or x equals the negative square root of 10 minus 5. We'll do the same thing here for question 2 by recognizing that x squared minus 4x plus 4, when we factor it, is actually x minus 2 squared equals 11. Now we take the square root of both sides with the plus or minus. Sorry. We get x minus 2 on the left and plus or minus the square root of 11 on the right. So x equals the square root of 11 plus 2 when we add 2 to both sides, or x equals negative square root of 11 plus 2. For question 6, it's the same situation. If we recognize that this is a perfect square trinomial. The first term is a perfect square of 2x. The last term is a perfect square of negative 3, since we have a negative, and 2x times 3 doubled is 12. So we have 2x minus 3 squared equals 7. Take the square root of both sides again with the plus or minus. So we get 2x minus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 7. To solve for x, we add 3 to both sides. So we get 2x equals plus or minus the square root of 7 plus 3. That's a plus sign. And then to solve for x, finally, we divide by 2. So we get x equals the square root of 7 plus 3 over 2, or x equals negative square root of 7 plus 3 all over 2. Sorry for the bad handwriting. Question 7, same situation. Take the square root of both sides with the plus or minus. So 2x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 11. Subtract 3 from both sides, and we get 2x equals plus or minus the square root of 11 minus 3. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals the square root of 11 minus 3, all divided by 2, or x equals negative square root of 11 minus 3, all divided by 2. Last question. 2x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 5. Now, this question, this is not a perfect square trinomial. So we're going to go back to our factoring abilities, and we're going to subtract 5 from both sides so that it's equal to 0. And we'll get 2x squared plus 2x minus 4 equals 0. Now I see that I have a common factor in every term. So I'll factor that out, and I'll have 2 times x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0. X squared plus x minus 2. I need two numbers that multiply to negative 2 and add to positive 1, which happen to be 2 and negative 1. So this is 2 times x plus 2 times x minus 1 equals 0. So my solutions will be x equals negative 2 or x equals 1. And that's it.